It was a 2-hour sneak attack that shook our nation to its core. Japanese air crews targeted Pearl Harbor with deadly results. 2,403 Americans lost their lives and more than 1,100 were wounded. Wednesday, the nation will honor those lost service members, civilians, as well as survivors during the 70th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attack. For many veterans, it will be their last pilgrimage to the place that changed their lives forever. The Pentagon Channel's team coverage begins with Petty Officer Liz Vlahos and a look back at the morning of December 7th, 1941.
By the summer of 1941, President Franklin Roosevelt had cut off trade relations and halted oil exports to Japan in response to their aggressive advances into Southeast Asia. On December 7th at 7:53 a.m. in Pearl Harbor, 360 Japanese planes torpedoed, bombed, and strafed airfields, warships, and shipyards in the greatest attack against the U.S. to date. In 90 minutes, the Japanese had sunk or damaged 18 ships, including 8 battleships, 3 light cruisers, and 3 destroyers.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
2,400 sailors and 68 civilians were killed and almost 1,200 were injured. Fortunately, every U.S. aircraft carrier was absent from Pearl Harbor at the time of the attack. The United States responded by declaring war on Japan the next day. The U.S. raised and repaired all but 3 of the sunken or damaged ships. Remember Pearl Harbor was a familiar U.S. rallying cry used until the ultimate Allied victory ended World War II. From Washington, I'm Petty Officer Liz Vlahos.
Petty Officer James Stillipek is in Pearl Harbor with more on tomorrow's remembrance. Now, you've been there since Saturday, Petty Officer. What has your arrival been like?
Well, Petty Officer Wilkin, it was tremendous. I was fortunate enough and lucky to actually travel on the plane with several Pearl Harbor survivors. When they boarded the plane in Chicago, they received a standing ovation at the gate, and there was even more people waiting for us when we arrived in Honolulu.
And I understand that you've had the chance to visit all of the memorials there at Pearl Harbor. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I visited the USS Utah Memorial, the USS Oklahoma, and the USS Missouri, and there were visitors from all over the world coming here to commemorate our memorials. I spoke with an Asian gentleman who was so honored and pleased for all that America has done to promote world peace.
And the attacks on Pearl Harbor happened 7 decades ago. What are some of today's generation saying about what the ceremony and just the remembrance means to them?
Well, I was able to speak to a 15-year-old Sea Cadet from San Francisco who was here with her band performing at the various events. And she was so honored to be here for the 70th anniversary that she was actually moved to tears. So many of the events of this week have centered on reflection about the events that happened 70 years ago. And for many of the survivors, this could be the last time that they'll ever get the chance to come and see these hallowed places. Monday, some members of the Pearl Harbor Survivors Association were given a boat tour of the various memorials, including USS Arizona and USS Utah. After the tour, we spoke with some of the survivors, and they still vividly remember the details of December 7th, 1941. This remembrance is a coordinated effort between the U.S. Park Service and the U.S. Navy. And the event, even the timing of the event has significance. The ceremony starts at 7:40 a.m., 70 years to the minute of the attack.
Thank you, Petty Officer Stillipek, and we look forward to what I'm sure will be a great ceremony, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Thanks, Petty Officer Wilkin.
And for more information about Pearl Harbor, you can head to Navy.mil/PH70. The Navy has set up a special section on its website with pictures, videos, and stories about the brave men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice.